Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Untangle 101 series. We are discussing today Command Center and the remote management capabilities within our solution. I am Shannon Bonfiglio, part of the marketing team here at Untangle. I have with us Chad McNaughton, who's one of our sales engineers, and he'll be taking us through this presentation shortly. Next slide, Chad. Maybe. There we go. Just a few housekeeping rules before I pass it over to Chad. Please be sure to select the correct audio preference on the right-hand side. You'll see two options, one to use your computer speakers. If you do just choose to use your computer speakers, please make sure you have a strong internet connection. You can opt in to use the telephone, which you must use the access code that's provided. As always, all of our webinars are recorded, so you'll be able to rewatch or revisit, or share the webinar after the event has ended. We post them on our YouTube channel within 24 hours. And if you have any questions during the webinar, please use the questions panel. We have a few staff members on hand that'll help answer those questions. If you have a very specific question, please send us an email at sales@untangle.com or support@untangle.com, and we'll be able to assist you better there. And with that, I'll pass it to Chad.
All right, thanks, Shannon. So, as Shannon said, this is an Untangle 101 webinar. This is a pretty light touch. We're not doing a tech talk, we're not diving super deep. But this is also Command Center. This is not one of our apps that we would dive into configuration, setup stuff. We'll just kind of show you how it works, some of the cool new features. And then, as Shannon said, if you guys have any more detailed questions that we can't get to here, let us know. Sales, support, or pre-sales at untangle.com. I also want to mention that I have a terrible cold, and I will do my best to mute when I cough so I don't cough in your ears. If I happen to stop talking for a second, bear with me. I apologize. It's January in Denver. We all have colds. So what is Command Center? This is our centralized management for your NG Firewall deployments. So you can easily manage a business relationship with Untangle. You'll see our cloud-based products and services available. And this is now included with NG Firewall Complete at no additional cost. This did have a pricing structure associated with it here up until a few weeks ago. But Command Center is completely free now, which is obviously pretty cool. So some of the benefits, anybody on this webinar, I'm guessing, is already pretty aware of a centralized management and the benefits that it can provide. Doing this in the cloud is also a pretty handy thing. We don't add any hardware. There's no additional footprint on the actual network diagram. So this is all hosted in our cloud. So this is going to let you manage multi-site deployments without additional boxes. You can get alerting, threat histories, auditing across multiple sites, manage your licensing, your updates, backups. You can even reboot an Untangle server from the cloud now, which is not always recommended, but sometimes necessary. This is all in an effort to reduce management and overhead costs. We are pretty focused on small to medium businesses. Some of those small businesses are also pretty dispersed. Sometimes we'll have a little library that has a couple of buildings that are 10, 20 miles apart, maybe, I don't know, a school district. You don't necessarily have to get in your car and go to site B anymore. If everything's hooked up to Command Center, you can do all that stuff here centrally, from your couch on your laptop or your phone or your tablet. I think some of my favorite features in Command Center are the abilities to clone and edit and push policies across your fleet. This is part of something that would be a true centralized management platform. So that's what we've got now. You're able to create things like master configuration templates. Say, this is my master appliance. These are my slave appliances that always stay in sync. So if you change something on a configuration on box A, boxes B, C, and D sync automatically. So that's a Command Center option as well. And you're also able to manage all devices on the network that have Malwarebytes endpoint protection. So this is a new thing we'll talk about here as we go on, but this is a new antivirus partner that we have, Malwarebytes. If you have the Malwarebytes enterprise plan, this is a really, really cool solution because Untangle still doesn't push client software, but we integrate now with the client software that Malwarebytes Enterprise has on your desktops. So zero-touch provisioning is also part of Command Center. You can configure appliances remotely now. If you just basically send an appliance to a client, they plug it in, you register the serial number or the UID, and it will pull down its configuration with zero-touch provisioning. This is becoming pretty ideal for managed service providers and MSSPs. This is, to be perfectly honest, it's been a long time coming. We've wanted this for a long time here at Untangle. I'm in my 4th year here, and it's been fun to watch this come together so fast. You know, Command Center is still kind of our newest product, but it's been winning awards and it's doing some really interesting stuff. And did I mention it's free? It's free. So the dashboard in Command Center is a little bit different than the dashboard on your NG Firewall, which you're pretty used to. That's a really customizable, fluid dashboard. This one's a little bit different. You can tweak this and remove widgets, and obviously more features like that will come as we go. But immediately, you just jump in, you get a single pane view of your NG Firewall deployments. So this is an aggregate dashboard showing all of your boxes in your fleet. So you'll see connectivity, location, host activity, threats, alerts, top bandwidth usage, kind of we do kind of a top 10 alerts, reports kind of thing here on the dashboard by default. Alerts and threat history are a big deal to see here as well, especially with Malwarebytes integrated. That's a really handy system now. We have all kinds of interesting alerting for threats. And then you can also change your account info, purchasing. You can see any attempts to log in here in the audit history. So there's all kinds of stuff you can see if anyone's changed your info. But we'll get into some more options here with Command Center users who would actually have the permissions to do that, et cetera, et cetera. One of my favorite aspects of Command Center is the alerting system. Untangle, the server, NG Firewall, has about 20 alerts built in, and those are great. Those are local alerts on the box. If the box is offline, it's going to have a hard time alerting the admin. So we can replicate alerts in the cloud now. It's a pretty simple thing. This is improved visibility, business continuity management of multi-site deployments. The default rules you'll see here are pretty critical. So you'll see a disconnected alert. If you have a box go offline, Command Center can actually alert you a number of different ways. Our notification profiles are really handy because you can get an email, obviously. You can get a text message. You can get we do PagerDuty, VictorOps. You can get a private message in a Slack channel if you have like an IT ops channel in Slack. So there's a lot of different options. I really dig that because it also has a log, but there's just so many more options to the alerting here rather than just an email once the box is back. Obviously, hopefully the box doesn't go completely offline, but if it does, Command Center right here with that 3rd rule can tell you, this box is offline, disconnected, and all we do is really just copy alert strings into the cloud. We can make a ton of alerts here now. So this is a really cool system. And like it says there, you do get a notification log, and you can kind of integrate global alerts with management tools, like I said, with PagerDuty, Slack to get those alerts. And I'll show you all the alerts when we jump over to Command Center and set up a little profile. So the Appliances tab in Command Center is really, really handy. So there's a couple different ways to view it. The one here, we're looking at the icons. You can also toggle list or grid view. This is going to show you system status, uptime, active hosts, resource usage, bandwidth usage, any backups that have been done, network activity. You'll see all kinds of stuff about software, hardware, and network. You can do bulk upgrades on multiple devices if you just check the boxes and click Update Software. You see at that left pane. This is also going to provide secure remote access. That's a really important thing to discuss because this is our preferred method of you remoting into your Untangle now. We don't want you to have to leave access rules open anymore, so you can just remote into your gateway IP. We don't want that open. That's a vulnerability to me personally. So now you remote in with one button here in Command Center, and it takes you through our SSL proxy server, assuming admin access. It's a very secure sign-in. So you can also create and restore backups, do software updates like I just mentioned. You'll see alerts and threats by appliance, and you can actually assign licenses to appliances here now too. So any of you longtime Untanglers, we've always gone into our account, grabbed the license, assigned it, et cetera, et cetera. All the stuff's in one place now. It's a lot simpler process, a little faster, I think, for end users, especially new folks to jump in. It's just right there in your account. As soon as you set your account up, you'll be able to see anything you've purchased, any boxes registered to it, all in one place. So the host tab is a bit of a new feature. This one is where we look at some of the Malwarebytes integration. We'll jump over there. I have a couple of virtual hosts that we'll go take a peek at here in my demo account. you're going to be able to see real-time activities of those hosts, their OS, sessions, all that kind of stuff. This is where we see the Malwarebytes integration on hosts. So this is where we can run an antivirus scan on that endpoint. You see there on the bottom pane, we have a port scan and antivirus scan. So that's going to run either an nmap, a network mapping for the port scan, or just run a quick antivirus scan from Malwarebytes. So this is a really cool thing. As I said, this is going to require a Malwarebytes enterprise account, and this adds a ton of value to that, I think. If folks are just setting up, looking at different UTM solutions, different endpoint antivirus solutions, this is a really cool integration. I personally love Malwarebytes. I'm an Apple user. I've been a Mac user since 1987 or so, and Malwarebytes has been there for years and years with us. They were one of the first antivirus providers on Mac OS. So I've used it for a long time, and I really like the way it works. So that's a really cool added value, I think, to incentivize, I think, maybe use Malwarebytes on the endpoints. The policies tab, I think maybe it looks a little more complicated than it is. This is where you can configure policies across all these deployments. This is where I mentioned creating a master template, then cloning and pushing that policy to other appliances. And I'll demo this a little bit in our demo account, but all you do is click create policy. You choose the device that's going to be the master, and then you choose the other devices to push it to. If you want to keep those in sync, there's a button right there to check, and then any changes made on the master box will sync to all subsequent boxes that are keeping in sync with that master box. I wanted to talk about the reports in Command Center, especially for longtime untanglers who are used to untangles reporting. This is a very pared down report solution. So you'll see this when we jump in, but these are going to show the last 30 days of information. So unless you jump into a specific box, we're looking at 30 days of aggregate information. So that's a really handy thing in a high-level dashboard like Command Center. But if you do want deeper information from that server, you just remote it to the box, where we can keep up to a year of information locally. So across your fleet, getting these reports at a glance is a really handy thing. So like I said, 30 days of reporting right here. So just kind of some top 10 reports here, login histories, anyone's trying to get into the box, bandwidth control, top apps. That's actually mobile applications chewing up your bandwidth. And then alerts, notifications, basically, top domains by request, people going to which sites people are going to the most, basically. So don't. I try to explain to people on demos and pre-sales calls to not completely try to associate this with the Untangle dashboard, because they're very different. This is an aggregate dashboard. It's not entirely customizable. The reports are very different too. So as I said, 30 days is a pretty great peek into your aggregate reporting. If you need it deeper, just jump into the Untangle server. So there's also a tools section, and then on the far right, you'll see account. This is where you can manage your licensing, your provisioning, your billing. I'm going to show you this in practice, but if you want to divide some responsibilities up across different user roles, you can create admin accounts with different types of privileges across multiple deployments. So, if you are an organization, a client, has some admins who need access to their servers, you can make those available here. Or if they have an accountant who needs access to billing, you can make billing available here and make all the servers unavailable. I'll show you what that looks like here when we get over to Command Center, but it's a really handy thing, user roles. Not everyone who logs into Command Center needs access to servers as an admin, obviously. And we're also able here to utilize Scout IQ. That's our cyber threat intelligence system to determine if a file is a virus. So that's actually helping over there if you need to do any kind of lookups on the tools section. I'll show you guys that too. You can look up an MD5 hash, that kind of stuff, IPs. So let me jump out of this full screen real quick and we'll jump over to Command Center. I was logged in. Let's see if I need to log back in. So I'm logged into Command Center here. I also wanted to show you all, though, on the demo server, if you're in your Untangle, you can access Command Center right here by going to Account Settings. And this will take you right in to sign into your account. So there we are. So you can see, same window, took me back into my account. So I'm gonna close one of these here. So this is my dashboard. Unless you bookmark something else, this is what it defaults to when you jump into Command Center when you log in. You can see I've got some boxes online under the appliances here. If you hover over these, it'll give you some little details over every icon. So this one right here is maybe a free Untangle. I could still access that remotely from here, but I won't be able to, for example, create policies and push them. I hate to be obvious, but that box doesn't have any paid applications. So how could I push policies to it, right? So when boxes all have the same apps, complete package is really a great value because we can do all this stuff remotely with policy management. You'll see over here, I'm seeing a couple of alerts. If I hover over, it doesn't give me a whole lot, but if I click right there, it'll show me a little bit more information. The audit histories are similar. So if I click right here, you'll see this was me logging in just now. The map up here is basically showing my live devices. If I had a box there in San Francisco and a box in, say, Ireland, this would just zoom out a little bit and kind of keep all those dots on my map. You are able to go in and edit locations on any UID in here. I'll show you how to do that. If you want to go in and put in a specific address, we can tie that in as well. And as I scroll down, you see, some recent hosts. These are a couple of, looks like Windows boxes here behind one of my untangles. So if I click on that, you'll see host name. What all's going on here? That's a VMware box. You can see its host. You can see its MAC address. So there's some information available right there without even jumping into the hosts menu. And then as we scroll down, you'll see some of these top applications, top domains by request that I was mentioning. Top applications, we're actually looking at mobile devices there. So those are mobile apps for the most part. If we need to, we can always move this thing around. That's better. So I like this dashboard. I use this, 20 times a week. I run Untangle at home. Obviously, I have another box or two here at work that are all connected. So all I have to do is just jump into Command Center and take a quick peek. I live here in Denver in the city, and I actually leave some Wi-Fi open, so other devices will connect, so I can see certain types of traffic, and I can get an alert from Command Center every single time one of those devices joins my network. I can jump on and see which apps they're using without even remoting into my box, which is also really simple. I also wanted to show you guys real quick. If you notice, we do have help buttons and suggest idea button right here on the bottom right. Don't be afraid to click those. If you click help, that's just going to let you ask our support team a question or open a ticket, get a quick article. What is Command Center? This is leveraging our articles from the URL you're on right now. So if I needed to understand Command Center policies more, I could click right there, and it's just going to pop this little article from our support team right here. This is a really, really handy tool. It's not specifically chat support, but it's self-help. And then if you need to open a ticket, something doesn't make sense, just click right there. But this will take you out to a support article. So if you're curious about assigning, common configurations, policy, templates, that kind of stuff, all you have to do is click right there, and it'll take you out here to that full article. The other option right there is suggest idea. I also wanted to reiterate, we would love for you to click suggest idea and tell us what you would like to see added to Untangle or to Command Center. So whether it's a Command Center feature request or something that Untangle NG Firewall doesn't do that you want, please go tell us. We're kind of in idea mode. The number one request is currently multicast. So MDNS has gotten 147 upvotes. So this is a really cool thing that we just unveiled here a few months ago, I guess. So it's feedback.untangle.com if you're just going straight to it. Otherwise, you can just click the buttons right there. So we're going to go in order of my deck. So we'll just go take a look at the alerts real quick. You see we have a lot of alerts in here that we've customized. So these have the 4 defaults built in. You see appliance disconnected there. If I edit this rule, you'll see it's a very simple thing. The name is a reference for you. We copy the string. The word is disconnected. And I would probably come and make this an active rule. So right now this rule is disabled. If I want to activate this rule, I just sit active and save. So you see this, I wanted to mention this. I wanted to show you guys this. This changes may take up to 20 minutes to propagate. That's a pretty big estimate. I have never seen it take that long, but just FYI, it can take a few minutes for these things to sync sometimes. Some of these alerts are pretty obvious. You know, someone's trying to remote in subscription events, something on my subscription change. Maybe someone comes in outside of compliance on my licensing. You know, I've got 25 devices licensed, maybe 3 more come on, devices 26, 7, and 8. I can get an alert about that. I wanted to show you guys the notification profiles too, because these are where all the different options are. So if I come in and say these critical alerts might need more notification options. So these are critical. The action is Slack. So because they're so critical, we want to be pinged immediately, whether we're at work or home or whatever. So this is going to come into Slack, which will, as we all know, will make a noise and pop up on our screen if we let it, all kinds of stuff. But you can see, you know, we can do webhooks, emails, text and paging with VictorOps and PagerDuty. I guess I'll cancel that first. The event log is basically what we were talking about earlier, is some of the reporting here, just the audit history, any alerts received. This is basically what's presented on that dashboard widget that we started at. So if we come over here, you can see appliance disconnected. You know, this is the host name that disconnected. There's a UID. So it's a pretty cool system. And then the log is obviously just logging everything we get. So we are getting an everything alert. I didn't know if you guys saw that or not, but right here, you see a couple of these alerts called everything. If you put an asterisk in there as the string, there's pretty much no alert without an asterisk in the string. So we're replicating every single message that's ever generated on Untangle right there. So that may drive you crazy, to be quite honest. You might want to uncheck that one. Just a kind of a pro tip, but asterisk as an alert rule will basically tell you every single message Untangle passes. So this is my appliances menu. This is where I can jump in, you know, remotely, update the software, all that stuff. If you, like I said, if you toggle grid view, that's all it really does, icons or a list. So I can come over here and say, let's check this one right here. So that brings this up. This is on the West Coast. I'm out here at our office in Denver, but you can see it's signing me in there. It's a box in San Rafael. So just some quick metrics. This will remind you a lot of the actual Untangle dashboard probably. You know, you see your CPU load, you know, your memory consumption, disk usage, that kind of stuff, architecture. And then right here, you see these recent hosts too. So these are the machines here using this as a gateway behind this Untangle device. So as you scroll, you know, these are just the widgets that it was pulling from to aggregate on the dashboard. So same information, just drilled down to this device. This is where we can come in and set a tag. A tag is very different in Command Center than it is on NG Firewall. On Untangle, in the server, when we tag something, that's a label that can be used for routing through policies or for filtering. This is just a label. So I'm just going to say this one is San Rafael. So that's my server in San Rafael. That's all I have to do for that. I'm not changing the host name or anything here. I'm just labeling this thing in Command Center so I can keep up with it. I personally, I don't like these untangles over here that only say untangle.example.com. I think you should always change your Untangle host name to be something specific and custom. I don't know, there's tens of thousands of untangle.example.com, you know, so to me, I would go make that something more specific when I do the setup and go into config host name. But the tag is handy because I just tag this guy and then I know what it is at a glance. That's a really helpful tool for big MSPs. Maybe I have 200 untangles in here. I can just jump in and kind of grab that tag. And there it is. This is also where you can add licensing, update your software. If I click right here, you can say there's a sub. Do I want to add it to this box? I can do that right there. You see this device is already on my newest build. So if I click update software, I won't get a whole lot out of that. This is where I can also reboot. Remove appliance will just remove this box from my command center. This is not always necessary, but sometimes, you know, we need to move things from accounts or et cetera, et cetera. You take over someone else's account, things happen. So once an appliance is removed here, that makes it available to be assigned to another account. A quick tip, If you remove an appliance right here, that's also going to unassign all subscriptions from that appliance. So once you re-add it to your new command center, you just go in and re-add the licensing. So that's the appliances tab. If you need to just update software, add one over here, this is the add. So this is where you can, like I said, for zero touch provisioning, we could just punch in the serial number. I mean, that's on a sticker on the Untangle hardware, so that's not something that you have to go through install to get like a UID. So there's two different ways to do that. So whether it's the UID or the serial number, just punch it in right here and that'll add that box to your command center. It's registered to you now, and you can add subscriptions, update it, do all this fun stuff. Or just click right here to get remote access. Let's see if this works. It's pretty fast. I'm in Colorado. This is a virtual machine, hosted very far away. So that was a pretty quick remote jump in. You can see this is that marketing one box. We have a couple of hosts behind. This one has 2 active devices. So it was that fast. And I would much rather you guys and girls just use Command Center now. I don't think we need to keep our IPs open to access like that with SSH and stuff. So this is just much more secure. And to be quite honest, it's a lot easier than some other methods. This is my preferred method. I check my Untangle home server, once a day now. So it's just too easy. So I might as well jump in and look. So if we keep going here, we're going to jump over to the hosts. This is where we see our Malwarebytes integration. If I come down here and click on a host, you see this one over here, the logo. This one has Malwarebytes installed. This one doesn't. So that's a really easy thing to see. So if I want to, I can come up and run some scan. Whoops, I didn't mean to uncheck that. I can run scans on these things. Down here, you'll see installed software. You can click and see host sessions. This is cool. I don't have to necessarily jump into the Untangle device to see what these hosts are doing on the box right now. So I really like this. Web events is basically going to narrow that down to port 80, port 443. You'll likely see a lot of Malwarebytes, URLs, and things like that in here. Then obviously this is showing 20 sessions events per page. So if you need to, you can scroll through these pages. Any applications here, you'll see these applications. You see that we're getting a server country even, so there's a geolocation available, all kinds of fun stuff. If we go to endpoint security, you'll see that one. I didn't click on the Malwarebytes one. This guy here, we can run a port scan on. That's going to give us an nmap on this host. We can also run the antivirus scan right there. We're about to issue a scan command to all the selected hosts. Yes, yes. Excellent. So that's where we institute these scans. The port scan is, like I said, it's just an nmap. All it's going to do is just give you a quick peek at the network that host is on. So it's a really cool system. Like I said, it's adding a lot of value to things like Malwarebytes Enterprise. I love that we've integrated like this and we're not completely pushing endpoint antivirus to your devices yet. To me, that's still a strange thing to have the same company doing both. But with a partner like this, we're able to do some really, really cool things here and, kind of still be a little bit hands off as a gateway appliance. So this is one of my favorite new additions to Untangle. I think this is a great idea to get started with Malwarebytes. And this is my problem over here that I skipped, my fault. We will go to our account section right here, and you'll see down at the very bottom, there's a Malwarebytes section. This is where you actually log in, connect your Malwarebytes account. So if you want to, let me see if I can log in real quick here, see what happens. So if I want to, I'm going to refresh real quick. So bear with me for 1 second. So I'm signed in now to my enterprise account. So if I want to, I can go reinstitute those antivirus scans. This is where we can see all the hosts, everything. I wanted to cover this page a little bit anyway, because this is where Malwarebytes is, but this is where you actually create those user accounts and all that stuff too. So I don't mean to skip around a little bit, but since we're here, we might as well talk about it. So there are additional authentication options here. You can see 2-factor authentication up there. If you want to enable automatic login, we have that here too for remote appliances. That's why I jumped right into that VM box instead of having to punch in my password. So that's really handy to me. Command Center assumes admin access already. I get asked this a lot, so I'll tell you. If you enable play connection audio and save your options, you'll hear a cool old school dial-up modem when you remote into a device from Command Center. So that's fun. If you want to, you probably saw that my UIDs were masked. You only see the first 4 and the last 4 digits. So I prefer to do that here too. And you can also auto assign subscriptions. If you want to set auto logouts for Command Center, you can do that here as well. This is also where you can delete your account if you need to, or request a copy of your electronic record. This is an important aspect for folks, especially in the UK, under the General Data Protection Rights. If you need that, it's available. This is also where you see basic info. You know, if you come in and change your contact info, any billing, email address that's different. This is also where you can change your password, and as I said, update your dashboard. So if you want to change your widgets around, you can come over here and turn some of these off. As I said, this will probably get more options as we go forward with development on Command Center. As it stands now, I don't really have any of those turned off. I kind of like my dashboard like it is. When it comes to getting data across my entire fleet of Untangles, to me, it's kind of, you know, the more the merrier. So I basically leave mine by default like this, but it's a, you know, up to you, personal preference. And then you can also change your organization information if you need to jump in and you know, change your address, billing information. You'll see your subscriptions here. So you can see I had that one subscription that wasn't assigned yet. So if I want to, I can go assign that to a box. Then it's where you also see invoices, etc. And then users, which I wanted to talk about for just a second. I get asked this a lot in pre-sales because people have been asking for different user roles for a long time, and we still don't really do that on the server. If you've got an account on the Untangle NGFW, you're an admin with full privileges. But we needed something a little bit different for MSPs and some other organizations. So now we have user roles. So if I wanted to, I could come over here and create myself as a user. So I'm going to punch in my email address here at Untangle, if I can type it. So now, do we give me access to billing and management? Am I someone who works in accounting, or am I just an IT technician, an admin? It depends. Some of our MSPs, you know, this is Untangle. We have MSPs who are one person, 2 people as a company. You might be the accountant and the admin and the CEO and the janitor, you know. So if you need it, you can do all that stuff right here. If I had someone who, if C. McNaughton right there was an accountant and not an admin, I would give you full access to my billing, and I would say no appliances are permitted when you log in. So that's kind of the difference between, you know, the easy way I put it in black and white is an accountant role or an admin role, but they can be obviously a little bit of both. So if they need that, they can give them full access. If it's an admin, like I said, no access. Maybe it's someone at a client site. They only need access to this server. So when I do this, I can click send invitation right here, and that's going to invite that user to come to my Command Center with their user account. I actually had that email pulled up right here on a different tab. This is the email you'll get. It looks about like that. Hello, this account has added you as a user. Please log in with your existing credentials. I'm not going to do that right now because I'd have to sign out of this demo and all that stuff. But what you do is you sign into Command Center. When you get there, it asks you which organization you're coming into. Are you coming into this at untangle.com demo 10 account, or are you coming into your own account? So there's a lot of different ways to do this. MSPs traditionally, I think, do this on a case-by-case basis with clients, depending on if, you know, some small business owners will want full access to everything because this is part of their livelihood and it's a big investment to them. Others couldn't care any less. You know, they pay you to do this stuff as an MSP, so they don't want any interaction. So you don't really have to mess with it. If you need to, you know, we have different user roles now, and it's as easy as just choosing which organization you're logging into in Command Center. So I could also, if I needed to, come in here and edit this user's permissions. We just spun up another device that he needs access to now. So I'm just going to go ahead and enter that. And you'll see if I need to, I can change the billing access as well. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save right there. So now that's updated. So it doesn't send him a new email or anything like that. But when he logs in, now he has access to more than he did. So that's kind of what the user roles look like here in Untangle. Obviously, you can see we can scroll through pages if you get tons and tons of users. You can do that if you need to. But traditionally, I haven't seen more than 8 or 10 or so set up. But this is easy. If someone says they don't have the email, something didn't go through, there's a little resend invite button on the top right. And then when this person starts driving you crazy and you decide you don't want them to work there anymore and they're gone, you just come in here and you just remove that user. And he's gone. So that's kind of the account page. I'm going to backtrack just a little bit real quick so we can jump back over to policies, and then we'll touch on reports and tools here. So the policies we talked about a bit. This is very well documented now. As I said, if you click help here, even on this page, the articles that will pop are based on the URL you're on. So it's going to be about policies. So it's a really handy thing. Our support team goes to pretty great lengths to make these articles palatable for pretty much anyone. They don't talk over people's heads. They have screenshots to help, but they're also here to answer questions. So if you get stuck on any of the stuff, just shoot us an email. But the templates themselves are pretty slick. So if I come in here and I just say, so one of these is my master appliance. So maybe I say that one is. I can manage that template here if I want to. Sync all the new appliances. It's basically just changing the options. I'm not changing the template really. If I go back to that, let me uncheck that guy. We'll go create template. Oh, whoops, I didn't do that part. We'll go create template. All right, that didn't work. So maybe that didn't work just now. So basically I create the template from a master appliance that I've chosen here. And then I just go through and choose to sync it to all devices. Like I said, I only have a couple of untangles in the wild. So I have a master template, but I guess the third device is really different than the first two. So I still sync the changes, but device 3, I basically have to jump in and change that thing around on my own sometimes. So that's basically how it works. Like I said, that article is a really, really, really good step-by-step. When I talk to partners and we do onboarding and that kind of thing with new folks, with new MSPs, I love to show them this, but I also kind of get into I try to dissuade them from overthinking this. It's a turnkey solution, but if you get into certain verticals, certain industries, if you come in and your first 5 untangles are all different insurance agents, for example, you could create a master template in Untangle Command Center that is your insurance agent office template. And then that's a pretty turnkey thing. You keep that configuration saved here. We just shoot it over to any other boxes that get online. This is a cool thing. We can do a couple of different types of zero touch provisioning, it feels like to me, because the boxes themselves just pull the config down. But then here we can always push this stuff through the cloud pretty hands off as well. And then you see there's a sync now button and a delete templates button as well. So if we need to, we can come in here and change the stuff around. If we want to jump in and edit policies like I just showed you, the templates, we can do that as well. But this is one of the ones that's remarkably well documented and is pretty simple. Well, I might need to go refresh my demo account here, but it's a real easy thing to do. I love this feature. This is kind of one of the first things we got working really, really well in Command Center a few months ago. We're going to refresh one more time here. I mentioned the reports. We jump over there. They're going to be a little bit more limited than you're used to seeing on the Untangle. These are 30 days, just like all the other widgets. But right off the bat, top applications by bandwidth. Microsoft RDP, SSL, I mentally eliminate those from my brain when I see them. So boom, YouTube and CNN are certainly winning. Target is winning. I guess Target has a mobile app. It's good to know. So this is really handy, quick peek. What are the top apps hogging up my bandwidth right now? Then if we go in, we could probably figure out that one of these is, on Amazon. One of the top hosts is most likely using the top application. And then on the network reports, total bandwidth over the last 30 days, We'll see aggregate information there, and then web filters, similar top domains by request. Anybody who's used Untangle web filtering has always seen that big chunk of other. That's just part of a deep packet inspection when we do URL filtering. So I eliminate that from reports a lot of the time, but there's some handy stuff in here. Just top block categories, top block sites by request. Luckily, nobody's getting blocked right this second across this account. So that's kind of what the reports look like here in Command Center. As I said, these can be a really, really handy tool, but if you need a deep dive into reporting, just jump over to the Untangle server where we're keeping up to a year. I'm not sure what you'd like to keep locally. And then tools, as I mentioned, this is where you can enter a hash, a MAC address, a URL to check for viruses. Let's just enter a quick URL. See if we get anything. Hopefully not. So this will just run a little scan. It's a handy thing to look up IPs, look up any kind of UIDs on your box, that kind of stuff. So you get some cool information here. You see the owner of the URL. Looks legit. If you need it, that's a really cool tool. We're just looking for anything that's going to pop and scare us here. So anything that's infected, got a virus in it, we'll see here. That's basically Command Center. You see a couple of options here that I'm signed in that you won't have, things like shop admin that won't exist for you guys, but that little search bar is a handy tool. Let me jump back over to my slide deck here real quick, and we'll just wrap up on a couple more slides. Shannon, are there any questions hanging out there that we haven't gotten answered?
Yeah, there were a couple questions. People were asking about NG Firewall Complete versus free. You mentioned showing some of the free licenses on there, but I wanted to kind of explain the difference in what you can do versus free and complete.
Right. Well, the free package you'll be able to register your device. You'll see it there. You can get some light reporting like we see, and you can remotely access a free device, but you can't sync any policies, any of that stuff, obviously, because it doesn't have any paid apps. So that's the limitation. To me, it's more of a benefit for the complete package than a limitation, because you can still remote into a free box. That's a really handy tool. But the complete package, when you have all of our apps now, that enables Command Center to really be kind of turned up to 11 and let you sync all those policies. So if you need things like zero-touch provisioning and mobile policy syncing, pushing, you're going to need the complete package installed on those boxes.
Yeah, a lot of the questions were about us integrating with other AV solutions.
Sure.
As we don't currently have that, but it is something that possibly in the future.
Yeah, it's Untangle. Never say never. Folks know that our virus blocker, we integrate with Bitdefender. Our virus blocker Lite, we use Clam AV. So we're always looking for newer and better antivirus providers, and things like Scout IQ tie into a lot of different signature sets. But having Bitdefender there at the gateway and now having Malwarebytes in the cloud is a pretty interesting option. I try not to say Malwarebytes in the cloud because that paints the wrong picture. Your Malwarebytes is on your endpoint, but integrating with them is a really cool thing. Like I mentioned earlier, that's sort of the way the industry's going. So like I said, we'll never say never, but as it stands now, yeah, we'll stick to these couple partners and rock like that for a while, see what happens, huh?
Yeah. So and that feedback page that Chad mentioned, that's the best place to add anything you want. Our product team looks at that extensively when making determinations on what we should add in our next releases. So if people vote on it and think it's something that should be utilized across multiple customers, then we'll definitely look into doing that. So
and like I said, guys, don't feel like you're just throwing stuff out into the ether on that site and nobody sees it. The founder of Untangle votes on those. Our CTO sees those. We go in as employees and see what we like, and we upvote stuff. So that is our feature request system now. So you don't have to go through the support team. You don't have to submit a ticket, any of that. Just go to feedback.untangle.com and tell us what you want to see.
Yep. Most of the questions were very specific. So if we didn't get to your
Sure.
question, please email us support@untangle.com or sales@untangle.com. There are some questions about Untangle NG Firewall, which this webinar is mostly about Command Center. We do have a ton of information about NG Firewall on our website, as well as videos. If you are unfamiliar with NG Firewall and want to know more about it, that would be your best bet to start there.
Yep. As I mentioned, we're pretty active in the Linux community. You know, we're very well documented because of that. So Untangle, if you guys don't know, you know, we're in our 16th year. You can see here on my screen, we're getting some pretty good recognition. I always mention our support team. You know, I'll put them up against pretty much anyone in this industry. That's why a lot of those awards are up there. Customer service awards, they've won a couple of golds here the last couple of years. You know, and like I said, it's a real small team out here in Colorado. We don't outsource our support. Everybody's just out here in my office in a mountain time. So obviously, you know, a gold Stevie for customer service and technical support is a pretty big deal to us, being such a small company and having so many deployments worldwide. You know, we're at about 50,000, 52,000 deployments worldwide, and we have 5 support techs and a manager who win awards. So I think that's a pretty big selling point in this industry. When we talk about small businesses and content filtering, network security, that is still a remarkably underserved market, the small to medium businesses. So something like Untangle that's been around for so long, the software is doing such a great job. It's almost a no-brainer to me once you learn a little bit about the company, because we're very laid back and our support rocks and they win awards for us. So I always mention them. You know, anytime I talk to partners, MSPs, when we're onboarding and doing pre-sales, that's one of my biggest selling points for this company. And we do, as Shannon will mention, we do a lot more case studies than we used to. You know, video case studies, all this kind of stuff is on our website, on our resources page. If you're in a specific industry, you know, if you want to go see if you're a city government, you want to go see what the city of Montebello has to say about it, you can go do that. If you're a school, you know, go see what American Academy had to say. We're in a lot of different industries. We have a lot of different people saying really good things about us. And as Shannon mentioned, if you guys have serious questions, you know, just get in touch with us, sales@untangle.com. If you have technical questions, you can email presales@untangle.com. That'll come to me and my other sales engineer team here. Any other questions out there, Shannon? Anything we should touch on?
Someone asked if it's possible to disable specific applications running on an appliance from Command Center.
Disable? No, not yet. We don't actually. I mean, you would still have to RDP into the host or something like that. Yeah. So not yet. Like I said, never say never. Go request the feature. More endpoint interaction, I think, is a good feature request though too, because we're starting to get visibility into them now through the cloud. So yeah, can't say never.
Yeah, some people are asking about. Not sure if you mentioned DoD organizations. I don't really know what that means.
Are we talking about Department of Defense organization?
Yeah, we maybe that we utilize. We mostly serve state and local governments because they're somewhat similar to small businesses. Chad, I don't know if you know of any Department of Defense.
Not right offhand. We could do a little digging. I mean, I know I've talked to a few like that. I'd probably have to go see, you know, where those are in the process. But yeah, it's like Shannon said, it's a little more tailored towards small to medium businesses. When you get into big serious companies like that, you know, that have things like you know, top secret security clearance. That's a pretty serious thing. So it's just something we would probably need to discuss with, you know, some higher ups, people smarter than me, to be honest. So yeah, lots of government deployments. I'm just not real sure about that specific question, to be honest.
Yeah, me neither. But I think if you want to have a more in-depth conversation, please email us at presales@untangle.com or sales@untangle.com so we can better answer that question, because I'm not quite understanding what they're wanting.
Well, and we could do a little digging in the meantime. Yeah, if you want to hit us up. Yeah, let us know.
Right. Okay. I believe that's all the questions we have right now. Again, if anything comes up in the future, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're here to help. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions that are coming in. I think that's it. So we will end it right here. Thank you everyone for joining us today. No, you cannot use your home account to access this. That's the last question. No, you cannot utilize the home license for Command Center, I don't believe, right, Chad?
No, you can. Yeah, your box will be there. But your home license is limited to. It doesn't have a couple of applications that make it the complete package. So you may be limited, but you'll be able to remotely access your device and see some reports and stuff.
Yes. So the question is, can he upgrade a la carte? Yes, you can upgrade to get all of
Sure.
the applications so that you can utilize Command Center to its fullest. You can do that.
That makes more sense. Yeah, super easy.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I think that's about it. Again, if you have any questions later on, please reach out to us. This webinar will be uploaded on the Untangle YouTube channel within 24 hours, so please look for that if you want to go back or share this with anyone else. Thank you, Chad, for the great demo, and thanks everyone for joining. We hope to see you next time.
Thanks.